What movie or series lit your fuse and made you have to tell stories on screen?
It's hard to say exactly what movie lit my fuse. I know which one it is, but it's also the entire experience of being in the cinema as a collective and feeling that we're all experiencing this story being told to us. And I remember being 10 years old and sitting down to see Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I remember sitting and watching this vast, expansive story being told to me. And I'd only sort of seen, I don't know what I'd seen before, but nothing had sort of prepared my mind, imagination, my emotional responses, anything for what I felt when I was watching that movie. And I think the sounds, I never looked at a plate of mashed potato the same way since. It was something which really penetrated, and it's something which just got under my skin and stayed there, and the atmosphere of it stayed there. And I think that's probably when I first truly fell in love with cinema.
On your way up, what movie or series did you watch that was so good it made you question if you could ever rise to that level?
When you see something which is so fresh to you, it's something where your whole entire being becomes a sponge to what is put in front of you, and the experience that you're feeling is something that you haven't. It's like it's a new chamber that's been tapped into. And I think A Woman Under the Influence was the movie which really sort of made me think, to make movies, to make people feel this way is the most extraordinary thing. And it was one of those movies where I hadn't seen that type of filmmaking, that very sort of naturalistic style. And it's the film I go back to, I watch all the time, and it's the film I go back to whenever I'm sort of feeling like I need like a touchstone to remind me of why I love doing what I'm doing. And the film that I would constantly aspire to making something anywhere near that, it's a tough act to follow. He's a tough act to follow.
Which of your own work comes closest to the quality of that first project that originally lit your fuse?
To try and think about where my own trajectory aligns with Spielberg's is just near impossible. I think it's completely different. So in terms of how close, I can't think about it as a way to aspire to create something like Close Encounters. I can only think about something to aspire to making something that gives somebody else the feeling that I felt watching that movie. Of all of the movies that I've made, I take pride in each one differently. The Nowhere Boy being my first movie, I take a lot of pride in because it was such a privilege for me to be able to step on set as a director and to be working and making an independent movie, and I fought hard to get to that point. So that one would be definitely one where I feel the pride of having gotten to a place which I'd aspired to for a long time. It's not necessarily, the success of a movie or that gives you the pride. It's for me, it's the experience of the movie that gives me the pride, the experience of making the movie and where it goes.
What was the biggest obstacle you overcame that allowed you to reach that pinnacle?
I'd say the biggest obstacle that I have constantly have to overcome and continue to battle with is getting in the room, or getting on the lists. It's not personal obstacles, because I'm very much give it to me, I can do it. But it's getting to the people to say, give it to me, I can do it. It sort of feels like with every movie you go back to ground zero, where you're having to then reconvince and renegotiate and re-battle and break down some of those doors.
What keeps you optimistic that this industry will be able to rebound?
The collective experience. I truly believe that we are drawn to being together, and we are drawn to sharing experience, and that our sense of being told a story and enjoying that together would be something that will keep cinema and movie theaters alive. It may not be the large complexes anymore, but I believe and hope that independent cinemas and indie will almost have a resurgence during this time, because everything will become maybe smaller in terms of independent filmmaking, and also in terms of theatre going. It may sort of, I'm hoping it'll bring back, more of those smaller theatres that show great independent movies. Everyone's sort of strategizing to try to figure out how to keep moving it forward. It's difficult to know when you are such a large group of people all working together, and I guess it's going to be a more controlled environment. And I don't know the answer, because I think it's a difficult one, and this is my first pandemic, so I haven't really got the experience to lean back on. But my optimism always leads me to the belief that it will happen, and I feel that the rumblings within our industry I can feel is quite positive. So I'm hoping that it will be soon.